So today, I'm not going to answer a question. I'm going to continue talking about who I am and what created me. I wanted to talk about my spiritually transformative experience, but now I'm into sort of like a psychoanalytic mode where in order for me to convey the importance of that, I kind of have to go into my past. So today I wanted to talk about what I've started calling Event 1, which is essentially Event 1 in the creation of me as a deviant type of person, somebody who just left the world and became whatever I am. It wasn't like I was born with a mental illness or something, or deviant kind of personality. What I'm calling Event 1 happened when I was probably about 12 years old. I'm basically using this talking to do psychotherapy on myself because I haven't fully processed Event 1. Nobody wants to be stuck in the past, but I'm still trying to integrate this event in terms of understanding who I am and what role I'm supposed to play in the world. So it wasn't like I was sexually abused or beaten up or anything. The abuse in question was on the playground. It was basically there were three other people involved. There was one of the kids who lived next door, and my brother and my sister. We were outside on my front yard, and they had pretty much ganged up on me. What I don't fully understand about the incident was what part of them ganging up on me was something that was truly weird about me. In other words, like, this really was me that they were ganging up on. But there was another part of it in which when people get to middle school, their desire to gang up on people increases dramatically. There's a separation between themselves and their shadow. Like, their shadow becomes really a bad thing, and they want to see themselves as heroes. And this drives people to, like, more vigorously reject other people in order to reaffirm the identity of the group. So what happened when these three people, my two siblings and the next door neighbor, ganged up on me was some kind of combination of they were attacking me for some weakness that I had, but they were also developing that middle school desire to form mobs and to persecute the outsider, whoever it is. And I don't fully know what part of the incident was each of these factors, what percentages they mixed. Was it mostly just they needed to form a mob and I happened to be there and I happened to have I was an easy target? Or is there actually some weird aspect to my consciousness that I need to be forced to focus on it? Essentially, I was forced to focus on my weakness at that point. That Event 1, I felt kind of innocent before that event. But then when they had ganged up on me in a kind of cruel way, I realized I was living in a world that would not, to quote the Lord's Prayer, it would not forgive me my trespasses. The world was not going to forgive me for having some peculiarity, some weakness. Within a year or so, my parents were getting separated, and they weren't nice to each other. They were more of like bitter. The family unit, as it were, it just kind of dissolved. So what kind of consciousness do I not have? What kind of consciousness do I lack that the world is not going to forgive me for? And in this case, the next door neighbor was making fun of me for some kind of lack of pop culture, like Madonna, for example, like or rap music, like the Beastie Boys or something. There were people, and he expected me to be more like with it, and to know something about what was going on in the latest pop music events. And I had obviously not acquired the requisite information. I was too far behind in the development, so to say, of that area of consciousness. It's very paradoxical, but because by laughing at me and by making fun of me for like what I didn't know, they were actually pulling me into their world. Like he was telling me what I looked like from the perspective of that world, of people who care about pop culture and who care about like MTV or something, that kind of thing. This was like the late 80s. All the references I mentioned were from that. So I'm interjecting this clip because I realized I didn't actually finish talking about Event 1, and I don't know how to talk about it. I'm pretty sure it was a key event in my life that led to my spiritually transformative experience, but I haven't fully integrated it into my world. It's kind of like a limiting place. It's the trauma that I'm stuck at. That's the wall that I can't get past. I don't have a therapist, and I would like to be able to get past that. And I'm just talking to the screen. YouTube is like a kind of therapy to some extent. And I'm utilizing YouTube as that, despite its limitations, because that's where I am right now. Hopefully, I'll be able to find a way to actually like turn it into a story, like a real story that I'm eager to tell. But right now it's like a barrier, like a wall of ice or something. So basically, in the next part of the clip, I start talking about Event 2, which happened a few years later. And that's as far as I am. That's as far as I am right now. So I'm just using YouTube as a kind of therapy, and I don't know how to go past the wall of ice at this point. Event 2 happened when I was 15 years old. I remember exactly when this event happened, the day before Thanksgiving. I was always really good at math, and in 10th grade, I felt like I just knew everything they were teaching me, and so I just wanted something to happen, and I forget what course events led to me getting into the 11th grade math class, then sort of like being in the presence of all those 11th graders, and it kind of hypnotized my mind. I thought like I'm so good or something because I'm in this class of like older kids. Basically the prettiest girl in the school was in the 11th grade math class. And I convinced myself that she liked me, even though she didn't really like me. But somehow I convinced myself of that. Then when I called her and she said, "Oh, well, I'm going out with someone else," it totally like shocked my mind. It wasn't even like that she rejected me as much as that my own mind could have like built up such a powerful conviction that somebody was thinking certain things that they weren't even thinking. So I realized some kind of major flaw in my consciousness. In retrospect, whatever flaw in my consciousness was forced upon me in Event 1 came to the fore in Event 2 and became paramount because the female, the woman, is sort of like the meaning of life. So if that is threatened by the weakness that was pointed out to me on the playground, then it reinforces a whole new level of, oh, I've got to solve this problem. Ever since Event 2, which is the rejection of this woman, in a nice way, but in a way that shocked my mind and made me fall into the darkness of self-awareness, you might say. I stopped doing all my school work. I totally just stopped everything. I just felt like the meaning of life. If you can't like address the core flaws in your consciousness, then I didn't really have any desire to keep going in the world in terms of what people were telling me to do, because they didn't necessarily see a problem with me. The kids on the playground, apparently they saw a problem with me, but like people in authority weren't saying I had a problem. But I started taking whatever it was seriously. This idea that there's something wrong with the way I think. And that lasted for 4 years, even all through high school. My grades were low, and I didn't apply to college in my senior year. And And my parents were divorced. There was no parental structure to serve as like a corrective to my sort of drifting. There wasn't anyone smarter than me or more forceful than me who would insist that I do something because I don't know what's good for myself, for my own good, in those years. They were just like letting me not do my schoolwork and not really paying that much attention overall. So those are events 1 and 2. My spiritually transformative experience would be event 3. But I will talk about that next week.